Good morning and welcome to Leon County Today with Sheriff Walt McNeil. And Sheriff, a topic here that I think we're hearing more and more of today. I don't know if there are more incidents or just more awareness, but human trafficking. We've seen incidents happen nationwide, even worldwide, and we're dealing with this right here in our area as well.
Oh, absolutely, Shonda. The fact is that anywhere you have what I describe is a urban center with a rural community of surrounding, like Tallahassee, Leon County is, you're going to find these circumstances, particularly when you add the fact that we've got a major roadway, I-10, that comes right through both of those communities, Quincy, Tallahassee, and obviously historically you've got migrant workers that come from places, can't speak the language very well, and those persons historically have been the targets of that are victimized by those persons taking advantage of the fact that they don't speak the language. And then the trafficking starts to happen, whether it's sex trafficking or labor trafficking.
Right.
We have it right here in Tallahassee, Leon County. And I'm happy to say that with our finally getting a focus on the social service organizations that are actually leap years ahead of us in terms of identifying what's going on and then trying to make sure that we have those intersections, that being law enforcement, working with those service organizations we're going to talk about today,
right,
to see if we can't get this stuff out of our community. We are extremely dedicated to it. I can tell you the Tallahassee Police Department is as well. And our job is to make Tallahassee, Leon County the best place to live, work, and the best place for people to visit. And these people who are migrants who are coming to our community deserve their protection just like we do. And we're going to make sure that happens.
Absolutely. And we're talking to the director of the Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center here today. And those collaborations are so important when it comes to law enforcement working and getting the resources that these victims need.
I tell you, I'm excited about our guest here today. She has spent a lifetime, if you will, focused on trying to make sure she changes lives in our community across our nation. And this sex trafficking, human trafficking, is one of the issues that she's been really on the forefront of for quite some time. And I'm just delighted to have her as our guest, and I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Absolutely. Well, we are talking with Robin Hassler Thompson here today. So she's going to delve into this issue today, tell us about resources that are available and what we as citizens can do. Sometimes you might see something out there and you say that relationship looks a little strange. Even in the grocery store, things that we can do to be proactive in that situation.
Absolutely, Shonda. I tell people all the time, whether it's a person coming out of prison, or whether it's people who are being victimized by sex trafficking, we come in contact with those persons in our day-to-day activities, whether, like you said, at the grocery stores, at the movies, where we are, there as well. And we've got to be able to hopefully start looking for those signs of those persons who are being victimized in our community. And Robin's going to talk about that in great detail.
Absolutely. All right, Sheriff, and we're going to get into this topic today, talking about help for victims of sexual trafficking and what you can do as well. But first, let's check in with Sergeant McMillan with our Crime Tip Tuesday.
Hello, everyone. This is Sergeant Shade McMillan with the Leon County Sheriff's Office, and here's today's Crime Tip Tuesday. Garages can provide easy access to the interior of a home for a possible burglar. Here are some tips on how to better secure your garage against someone breaking in. Make sure interior garage doors are securely shut flush with the floor, leaving no space to be pried open. Lock any doors connecting the garage to the house. Keep an automatic garage door opener in a secure location. Never leave it in an unlocked vehicle or when the car is being serviced. While on vacation, unplug the automatic garage door opener and padlock the track. Keep your home safe.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Luke!
911, where's your emergency?
Everyone's on their way. What happened?
Your friend's not breathing.
Joining me now is Robin Hassler Thompson, Executive Director of Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center, also known as STAC. Robin, talk about the mission of your organization.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me today, Sheriff. It's great to be with you. And I love talking about what we do because I think it's really important in our community to be focused on trafficking. So thank you for that. Our organization is really focused on kind of three different things. The first thing is to provide direct assistance to survivors of sex and labor trafficking. So whether that person is a youth or an adult, immigrant, non-immigrant, male, female, we are here to assist them. And that could mean anything that they need. We have provided assistance to victims, whether it's just getting a bus ticket out of town so they can be safe, or whether it's getting a cell phone, or whether it's finding counseling, a job, housing, all kinds of things. So because, trafficking victims have many needs just like we all do, we have to flex, we have to do that. The other thing we do is we serve as a hub for other agencies. In fact, we kind of grew out of the Big Bend Coalition Against Human Trafficking that was looking for a single point of contact on human trafficking. So we're a hub agency. If we get a call from legal services or from one of your deputies, we can say, okay, that's maybe better handled by this person, let's get you connected to the right folks. So we serve as a hub. And then the third thing we do is we do community education and training. So whether it's, we've trained at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, we've trained at your offices, we've done tons of training with deputies, as well as the general public. We do a training every third Friday, and it really brings together members of our community, and we're finding out online, the whole state and nation in some cases. So we've trained over 8,000 people since STAC started 7 years ago.
Robin, talk about, I don't think our audience realize how insidious this crime really is. Would you talk about why we got the rural and the metropolitan, and why is it that in I-10, talk to our audience about how that connects together in terms of how these people are able to get out and commit these crimes in our community?
Exactly. I think you're right. It absolutely is here, and we don't always see it because it's hidden. It's a highly clandestine activity. And when it comes to where we are, we're just like many other places. Sometimes people think, oh, well, trafficking only happens in Miami or Orlando or Atlanta, but it's right here. And in fact, in our rural areas of our community, victims are even more vulnerable than they are in some of the bigger areas like Tallahassee, right, because the services aren't there, and they might not be connected to people who could help. So we see it all over. Number one, it can happen any place, and as you're saying, we do have things that are characteristic of our community. I-10 cutting right through the middle of it, of course. Although to have trafficking, you don't even have to cross a county line to be trafficked. Somebody could traffic. In fact, when I started this work, the phrase parental trafficking, I'd never heard of it. But now, there are people who are trafficking their own children, sex trafficking their own children, and not even leaving the house. So whether it can happen in all these different ways. Again, nobody is immune. Anybody who's vulnerable could be vulnerable to being trafficked.
Robin, talk for just a minute about what can our business community do to help us in our efforts to weed out this sex trafficking, human trafficking?
Well, the business community is vital. That phrase, "it takes a village," is so true.
Absolutely.
And people in the business world are 100% front and center. In fact, last July, the Leon County Commission said to STAC, can you provide training for every single business in Leon County? And we're in the process of developing that. Your office has been helping us with that. And that's really helping every business, whether you're at a convenience store or whether you're a teller at a bank or whether you're a hotel housekeeper, that you could understand this might be a human trafficking situation. How can I respond? What can I do to get safety for that person, as well as to help that trafficker be accountable?
Well, in 30-second wrap up here for this section, what is the most important thing our audience needs to know?
That they have a role to play. And that anytime, we can talk about it more, but anytime you see somebody who's being controlled by an individual, It's time to think, what is going on that might not be safe for that person being controlled, and is that a trafficking situation? Maybe we can pick up on that, because I think anyone who could recognize it can help get assistance to that person who's being trafficked.
Thank you, Robin. Robin is back after the break to tell us about resources for victims and how you can help. Stay tuned.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Every day,
Millions of people are connecting
and even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together.
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort.
to get to know each other,
On a deeper level.
Father,
cosplayer,
Mentor.
Actor.
it's time we take a step forward
it's time we take a step forward.
Come together.
and discover
How accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
We're back with Robin Hassler Thompson, Executive Director of the Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center, also called STAC, talking about human trafficking. Robin, what are some of the services STAC offers to victims?
Well, we provide a whole range of services, and Sheriff, what's really important is we do it in concert with others in the community. So, for example, we provide direct case management services, and we also do referrals where sometimes we co-case manage. So if an individual needs legal help, for example, but she's also needing a place to stay, we might help her get a hotel. She might also need a cell phone. We'll help get that cell phone. We'll get maybe clothes and whatever she needs. We can try to get those from other providers in the community, or we can provide those services for her. And then we'll work with, say, Legal Services of North Florida to help with whatever needs that person has. It could be they need their name changed, or a new driver's license, or custody or divorce issue. So anyway, you get the idea. Survivors of trafficking can be as diverse as a toddler or an 80-year-old man from India. So what does that person need? It ranges far and wide. And so the services we provide accommodate really and are tailored, victim-centered, and trauma-informed services for that individual.
All right. We're talking about service collaboration and partners. Talk about the partnership you have with law enforcement. How is that working?
With law enforcement, it's really a vital partnership, and I think it's a collaboration where very often law enforcement might discover somebody who's being trafficked. And so if you contact STAC, as you all have, we're able to come in and provide those services, sometimes outside of the law enforcement framework, which can be threatening, as you well know, to an individual who's being victimized. So that's what that looks like. We also work really well to kind of fill in the gaps. I know with TPD very often, we've been called to provide gift cards to help an individual who might need clothing or shoes, something to get ready to go back to school. We can be very nimble and really kind of meet a victim's needs in a hurry. So we're able to do those kinds of collaborations, really whatever is needed really by that victim at that time.
Robin, I was so impressed with the talk we had this week where you brought in all of the person's experts around the state and around the country. Talk about what's the national and international reach of this problem and issue, and how is Survive and Thrive engaged in that effort?
Well, first of all, thank you for being on that show with us, because that was a webinar. We do it every third Friday of every month, and it's really for this very reason, is to show that Human trafficking is a local issue, a statewide issue, a national issue, and an international issue. When it comes to this work that we're doing locally, not only are victims brought in from other places, they're trafficked in. They might be, as you were saying at the top of the show, they might be coming in to do migrant farm work. They might be trafficked in to do work at a hotel or a restaurant, a nail salon. And everyone in the community is a potential, eyes and ears to get help to that person. We also find that human trafficking is an issue that all of us as consumers can pay attention to. So that this past week, for example, Red Eye Coffee is a great place to buy your coffee. And I'm not doing a commercial for Red Eye, but I'm telling you, all of their coffees, how they're roasted, their own labor force, it's all trafficking free. So you know that any hand that has touched a coffee bean that you are enjoying later on in its brewed form hasn't been touched by hands that have been trafficked or any kind of forced labor. So that's a global issue. And if you talk to Barbie Moore, she'll tell you that's how we make sure we get beans that are picked by farmers who are paying a fair wage to the people who are doing the work. So all of us as consumers, sometimes we focus a lot on the immediate situation at hand, which we should, but we don't realize that we're also powerful as consumers to think about and ask questions. What are the goods and services that I'm consuming, and have they been touched by anyone who's been forced to do that work? Chocolate is another example. We see a lot about that. But you can go to slaveryfootprint.org and figure out if your cell phone, your car, your clothes, anything might have been created with people's, with anyone who's been trafficked into forced labor.
Well, Robin, I tell you, throughout your career, you have been one of the persons, as I call it, on the front lines of fighting so many issues, and this one is one of those that is, as I said before, insidious, and we all have to kind of pitch in. I just want to thank you for all you do, and thank you for coming on our show. Coming up in our Deputy on Duty, LCSO's Fleet Unit is on the cutting edge of technology, launching a pilot program with electric vehicles. Stay tuned.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school.
Jessica has been through a lot in her life from early childhood.
My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She came in looking to complete her diploma. As she had a family she had to take care of. Anytime she needed help, we provided her help. She realized that we were here for her.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
My graduation, it was something I will never forget. I couldn't explain the emotion I was feeling because people like you and me sometimes may have doubts in ourselves, but I feel that everything's possible.
Jessica's future is brighter than ever.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The industry is moving towards electric vehicles, and it's moving at an accelerated pace. We've had an administration change, and that administration's focus nationally is on implementing EVs at the federal level. That has a trickle-down effect on what we buy all the way down through local and state governments. So not only is it the right thing to do for us to be prepared for what our costs will be in the future, the opportunity with fiscal year-end funds was, presented itself, and we were able to acquire those vehicles and a means of charging them that wouldn't be taxing on infrastructure costs. Tesla is already being utilized for law enforcement vehicles all over the country. Bargersville, Indiana, Westport, Connecticut, New York. There are many stories that you can find on Government Fleet magazine about sheriff's offices and police departments implementing Teslas. And so because there is case study history there for us to rely on to build our Teslas, we decided that we would use the Tesla product. A lot of people think Tesla and they think big dollars. And if you go and buy a fully souped up Tesla, you can spend $70,000 or $80,000. However, the Teslas that we purchased were on the Florida Sheriff's Association's cooperative purchasing program. And the Tesla 3 was $38,290. And that has a 265-mile range. So our utilization on our vehicles is significantly less than 260 miles per day. And the charging infrastructure that we chose is able to replenish our daily utilization within 2 to 3 hours per vehicle using solar power. So it was a combination of things. One, the product's available on the Florida Sheriff's Association's cooperative purchasing program. The price is within range and significantly less than a pursuit vehicle that we put on the road. So a combination of those factors led us to choose the Tesla product. Well, there's tons of technology in the Teslas, and it's going to be a culture change. We bought our first hybrid in 2006. We bought our second hybrid in 2018. We didn't bridge the gap to hybrid technology on the same pace that the average driver in our county did. In moving from a gasoline engine getting 16 miles per gallon to a Toyota Camry hybrid that got 53 miles per gallon, the next step are these electric vehicles, which Tesla is advertising, and we have actually, in our range data, been able to verify 144 miles per gallon. So, our dependency on petroleum as a fueling product will be reduced significantly by how we choose to power our electric fleet down the road. Now, we weren't going to be putting Teslas out in the, on the road in the next 2 years, 3 years, but by 2025, you're going to have more electric products than people have ever seen before. Change is inevitable. This is a change that you can see coming. We don't want to be late in responding to changes like we were in our transition to hybrid vehicles and the applications that fit hybrid, technology. So this will be the first time, I think, that we actually collect the data, plan out our infrastructure, and be able to not be behind the curve as the electric vehicle market expands into the, into police fleets.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to Leon County Today with Sheriff Walt McNeil. Sheriff, hearing from Tim Coxwell with our fleet unit, talking about this really is cutting edge technology, this pilot program we've got underway.
Really excited about it. You know, one of the things I said to Tim, and I say to all of our staff, is that, you know, we have to stay ahead of the curve with respect to the issues and problems of our society. And obviously, we'd like to be in that space where we're assisting in lowering that footprint that we've got as it relates to the carbons out there in our society. And so we're experimenting with these Teslas. I want to make sure everybody understands that we are not absolutely going to all Teslas, but we are experimenting with those to see exactly what impacts they're going to have. There may be a point in time where all the vehicles out there are electric, and we don't want to then learn on the fly. So we are right now experimenting with the Tesla to see how they perform, and if they have some nuances that we need to be aware of with respect to, like the driverless vehicles that are out there now, the autonomous vehicles, I guess you'd call them. When they have a crash, how do we work that crash in those circumstances? So right now we're in the experimental mode of trying to look at what these things offer us and what problems they present for us as well. And these, I must say to folks out there that these Teslas are not the high end. They're less than the vehicles the Tahoes we purchased. They're actually less than the Tahoes, but we will be experimenting with those.
Yeah, great news there. And then talking about Robin Hassler Thompson and the Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center, what a resource for our community.
Absolutely, Shonda. Robin said it most succinctly that we have significant issues here, and they are sometimes blind to us. There are people who are hiding in the shadows, you might say, right. And what we've got to do is put a big spotlight on those shadows and to get those persons out in the sunlight so that we can stop this hideous crime that's taking place all across our community and across our country. It's having an impact not only in terms of the persons who's trafficked, but those families. We don't think about that as well, the carnage that's left behind when someone goes missing from a family and right. You have no idea where they are. And so we're working hard, Leon County Sheriff's Office with our partners, TPD, and our federal and state partners. We are going to wrestle this issue to the ground. But as I always say, it will take all of us, and that's why we have to all be all in.
All in indeed. Thank you so much, Sheriff, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you back here next week.